Hi guys,
Hello,
Luke here,
I'm Gabriel.
and welcome back to another live session, mind you, of Clinical Trial Talk. So we just wanted to do another session on consent. When I say another session, I mean, I think there's some more to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. Last time we talked a bit about the standard kind of consent procedure where, you go into a clinic, you might have some questions that you want to ask one of the researchers there. You get given an information sheet or two about the actual clinical trial that you'll be participating in, and then you sign off on that and you go in for your screening visit. But there's other ways to do that, right?
Well, there's a lot of different trial sites maybe using e-consent, which is where it's pretty much a signed off thing on an electronic piece of gear. Then there also may be videos to explain how the study will work to give some more insight. Virtual reality is going to be something maybe in the future. We've just been talking about the practicalities of that and how practical it is to actually prepare that content for some of the smaller studies. It may not be there may not be sort of the funding available to actually go to the extent of doing that.
I mean, at the very first instance, to get a 3D kind of camera is somewhat of an investment, and then in order to prepare that video that you get out of it for the general public it's quite a technical thing that I would assume you wouldn't really know how to do unless you were specifically doing that sort of stuff.
Well, this is the thing, and some people might not like to do that. They might just like to read or have a discussion.
Yeah, for sure.
Going back to it, consent is a process for clinical trials. It shouldn't just be in writing and you sign a piece of paper. There needs to be a discussion. People need to take you through what that's all about. So if you're given a form and said, hey, sit there on your own and read it and sign it, and then you're on the study, that's not the way things should work. Recently, someone was telling me that a clinic was performing group consents and having a whole group of people in a room, and they'd basically run through the consent in a group. And I don't believe that should be done that way. There should be an element of privacy if you want to ask certain questions one-on-one with the people running it. And I don't know exactly how they were doing that, but if you are put in a position where you're expected to give your consent in front of a whole group of other people, probably good to reconsider that one and let us know if that's the case, and if you've had any dramas. It'd be interesting to know your stories.
Kind of reminds me of like group interviews. It's a very different, extremely different process from a one-on-one interview, and the kind of things that they're assessing in a group interview is different to what they're doing in a standard interview. So from that perspective, I can understand.
Yes.
But in a clinical trial setting, what do you need to assess in a group?
That might be more for a healthy volunteer type study, and I mean, there might be some advantages we're just talking about before in terms of frequently asked questions. Sometimes there might be questions other people ask that you didn't think to ask and whatnot. But
and you were also saying there might be a group component where the information is delivered, but then a one-on-one session afterwards. Or
maybe it's a hybrid process, probably good to check that if that's happening. But yeah, I mean, we've talked in the past about the National PICF. It's got a bunch of questions you should probably be prepped to ask, and it gives you a lot of good information about what trials are about, beyond just the specific one you're getting involved with, or you're looking to get involved in.
That's right.
And yeah, don't ever feel pressured to sign it. If you need time, you need to think about it. You should be able to ask all the questions and be happy with the responses before you proceed.
Or not.
Also, just to check the trial site staff that when you're there and you're asking questions, they should be documenting that conversation, okay? And it often doesn't happen, and it should be happening. So if you are doing it and you're giving your consent and you're asking questions, just call them out on it. Say, look, my understanding is this is a process and it should be documented. You should be writing down the questions I'm asking. Put it on to them to say, how are you actually documenting that? You're going to write this discussion up later?
Yeah, I think you mentioned videoing a conversation.
Well, that's the other thing. Some people, but then you got to consent to get the video.
Of course, yes, that's right.
That's another whole beast. Some people don't want to talk on video.
No, that's fair enough.
But that's the thing. Well, I mean, how do you solve the problem? If you've got any ideas, let us know.
Yeah. What would be most comfortable for you guys?
Yeah. Anyway, if you've got any other topics you'd like us to talk about on Clinical Trial Talk, drop us a line. We're on this platform, and don't be a stranger, because we're there to help. This is the only platform where more talk will hopefully bring something good.
Exactly.
Yeah. More talk means less questions.
Sometimes more questions.
Can raise more questions. but then you talk more, and then you hopefully
True,
wrap
exactly.
up the work.
Exactly.
Yeah, we've got to come up with a good.
Or like a slogan or something
yeah,
for the channel.
definitely. All right, guys. Thanks for your time.
Thanks.
Okay. Hit like and subscribe and tell your friends as well.